Hey, ladies, don't stop us. Look at us in this headwear. Let's go. This is the Three Wanks FPL podcast. Welcome in. We got 2 cones of shame going on, one an actual cone, one this horrendous banana, to commemorate 2 weeks of shithousery out of FPL Vibes FC and myself. Matt kind of in this reverse cuck situation. He's got to be enjoying that. Not wearing the hat.
I'm very happy.
You spent a lot of time in it for this moment to feel sweet, I'm sure.
It does. I feel good.
Love it. Gentlemen, 5 free transfers. AFCON is finally here. It's not a myth. It's real. I checked. They actually showed up in my account. Wild world.
How long did they stay in that account?
The second, actually before they came in during the games, I was already like, I think I might use all 5. Let's do it. Let's rip it right now. I don't think any of us are like, I've listened to some content creators and it feels like the prudent play or I don't know if it's a prudent play, but the patient play at least is to keep a couple, and it sounds like all of us have pretty much ripped. I've already sent 3, planning on 4. Sharp, you've done 4, is that right?
I've done 4, planning on a 5th.
Love it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, not only did Mac send it,
I also took a hit.
You took a hit? Oh my God.
Big reveal.
Let's go. What a week, gentlemen. We have no self-control in this pod.
We do not. We've been starved.
That's so funny. All the planning that we could do. Not only have we had to burn transfers for the last few weeks in preparation for this, and none of us did it right.
2 weeks.
Right, and none of us did it right. God, that's so funny. All right, well, let's briefly touch on how we performed last game week. I can start as the low of the low. That double Arsenal defense, I tell you what, they're really cooking, dude. I haven't gotten a single clean sheet from them in like 6 weeks. And then Newcastle just continued to frustrate. City good, O'Reilly good, like them. But I am worried that one of these days he's going to rotate. I know they played midweek. Unfortunately, Saka doesn't do anything. And that especially hurts because I have Dewsbury Hall on the bench. Not that I was ever going to bench Saka for Dewsbury Hall, but boy, it'd be nice to have those points in the old bank account. Bumo saved me a little bit at the end of the game week. Preach. Minte, I think I broke him as soon as I transferred him in. He turned into dog shit, the opposite of the Midas touch. Bruno Guimaraes, thanks for the tip, Mac. That was money. I don't know if you guys saw that goal too. He scored it from the corner. Absolutely wild.
That was sick.
Mateta continues to be shit. Pulled off at 60. Couldn't get him the fuck out of my team. Holland,
tired,
blank.
Who cares?
Yeah, he's tired, exactly. And Thiago, blank. So I can't. The benching thing, like, is just, you have to laugh at this point. Like, I've benched Thiago for Halls. I've benched Dewsbury Hall for Halls. I played him last week. And the reason I ended up benching him is I was like, oh, he's playing a lot deeper. Like, yeah, Forest is a good fixture, but I'm not going to play him over any of these guys. They all had great ones, Saka, and then you have Minte playing West Ham. I was like, oh, we got all these good matchups. And then in a hilarious way, the boy that I preach about every single week just returns with another huge haul, and no bench jam from that. So it is what it is. You live and you learn. But Kieran Dewsbury Hall is the best player in the world, and he will not be leaving my lineup.
I was going to say, the moment he's not in your starting lineup, you will be hearing about it.
But that'll fix him, right? He'll be sure not to score for that period, of course.
Yeah, so keep him in your lineup.
Right, exactly. He does play Arsenal in a few weeks, and I was kind of like planning things out, and I was like, well, I can't bench him versus Arsenal. And then I was like, okay, Luke, all right, chill. All right, Mac, do you want to go next?
I do. I am sitting here triumphant, not wearing the plunger, but admittedly, I'm only 3 points higher than you, Luke. So
yeah, it was close.
It was close.
Hey, you hit the average, though.
I know, perfectly average. It's totally fine with me. I did lose 100K rank for this now, so down to like 530K. Kind of blows, but it is what it is. Pretty similar team to you, Luke, honestly. Tarkowski, after making the mistake of not playing him last week for 10 points, I was like, I'm definitely playing him, and he got me 9, so it was pretty solid. Pretty disappointed by the rest of the defense. And then our midfields are pretty much the same, so I don't think there's a lot to cover there. In fact, do we have the same midfield barring KDH? We do.
Damn near.
And then same with the front line. So 49 points, not a lot to write home about. I guess the conclusion is for 3 weeks in a row, I have not had a single Arsenal backline player. and I have not gotten punished by that once. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah,
It's
so,
been
no, like,
exclusively beneficial.
and there was that turning point. It was really when Gabriel got injured, where we were like, all right, maybe it's time to either divest of your Arsenal assets or double down. And turned out divesting was the way. And we can talk about that in transfer plans, but I really am starting to wonder if now is a good time to just divest from them entirely. There's so many injuries to that back line. And yeah, I mean, Timber also, like, again, another player that I broke. He was so attacking all year. And then as soon as I got him in, like, where is he? I watch the games. I don't see him do shit.
Yeah, well, interesting. I have more to say about Timber because I may or may not have brought him in this week.
You're like, interesting, and shut the fuck up. That's my point.
For later. My confidence is slightly hurt now.
Yeah, all right, we can jump to Sharp.
That's too funny. Yeah, this was a good week. Good week for me. Jumped up to 130k in rank after the -4 hit that I took, so finishing with 73. Backline, aside from Timber, pretty pleased with. I know Newcastle did not keep a clean sheet, but the Burn assist was pretty nice. Or goal, I believe, was quite nice. Gooey played well. We already talked about Tarkowski. Having Foden and Bruno this week was genuinely the key. Like, that's all you needed to be up there and good. So yeah. I got lucky. Well, that was my hit. I took a hit to bring Bruno in, so I was happy with that. He obviously paid off. Frontline garbage, but this team looks very different already. So,
well, props to you for getting Foden and Bruno in for that hit, because, like, I mean, the Bruno one especially, but the Foden one going into last week, it felt like the player where you're like, I need to get him in right now. Like, I really need to. And the only reason I didn't was I was like, look, it's 1 week. We've got 5 transfers coming in next week. Like, it's not worth the hit, or it might not be worth the hit. And I think for me, I probably would have been transferring out Bumo versus Wolves or Saka. And either way, I was like, it feels aggressive. But you didn't mince words at all. You did it. You made the move, took the -4, and not only got him in, but Bruno. So props to you.
Yeah, no, it paid off. And
great
honestly, it was easy to transfer him out. And I don't think he's coming back in. So
yeah, so he didn't play yesterday midweek, so he actually may get some good minutes this weekend against Wolves. So it maybe he has this 1 week of really stellar play. But Arsenal, again, sorry to just keep talking about them, but the midfield is getting crowded now again, because you've got Madueke back, you've got Odegaard back, and so I'm starting to worry about the minutes for Saka. Definitely the minutes for Eze. They have been a worry, but are even more so now. I don't know. It's just interesting because it feels like up until this point, it's been like you have to triple up on those guys. And suddenly we're getting into territory where it's like, actually, who do you want though? Like which guys? Because I think a lot of people are getting Saka now because we have the money and why not? But even he's not like doing stellar. You could get Declan Rice. Which of the defensive assets to get? You could have Raya, but he's expensive and they're not even cleaning. So there's a lot to be said there.
I guess I have a different mindset than the Arsenal assets. If we want to get into it real quickly,
sure,
I think that if you think about who's coming back for them, it's mostly a lot of their starting guys. Havertz isn't too far for a return, and I think Gyökeres hasn't looked amazing. Everyone can agree on that. So Havertz is probably going to start playing striker when he returns. Odegaard is a great complement in the midfield to, what Saka does. I think Saka, I'm not even an Arsenal fan, but Saka's most productive season was when Odegaard and him were playing together a lot. And they have Declan Rice, who is like in and out, but I think he'll be rested. So while the backline's falling apart, I think they might get a little more solidity in the attack soon. And it might be uncertain for a little bit, but I'm not saying like jump on them. I'm just saying like maybe like 5-6 game weeks, I think part of the uncertainty with getting any attackers all season has been like we couldn't tell like is Eze going to start, like who's coming back. But if like the starters come back and they just get clear, it might be like kind of nice.
Well, I guess that's what I mean though. I don't mean that Arsenal aren't going to be up and firing. I'm just saying like if you were to tell me who's going to be the guy that's going to start consistently, like I don't think you would go out buying an Odegaard. I don't think you'd go out buying an Eze.
Yeah, sorry, that's a fair point.
Rice maybe you would, but like. I just mean in terms of minutes because they're getting more players back in the midfield and then they're injured in defense. It's like tough to find the right asset mixture. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. They could just turn it around tomorrow and look a lot better. So
I don't know. It might be rocky waters for a little while, but then I think it'll be back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and we there are options, right? If you want to go with the cheap Arsenal options, you've got some of those substitute defenders in Capier and Mosquera. No, Mosquera's injured too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Capier can obviously get Calafiore. His minutes will be even more locked now, but yeah, even those guys, it seems like there's a little bit of rotation going on there. But this is just the Christmas time period. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so let's talk. We've all got 5 free transfers. Obviously, we've made some moves. Do you guys want to touch on like a position group to start, or do you want to look at general fixtures? What's the vibe?
I kind of like the position group thing. I think that'd be
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, let's start with forwards then. It's and the reason I want to start,
need them.
Right, exactly. The reason I want to start there is because naturally it looked like this was the week where, okay, you have most players had some combo of Mateta with Haaland, and Mateta is getting subbed pretty regularly. So pretty early on, he's playing City this week. It's an obvious transfer out, way to get some funds in. But then it's like everybody's looking around. Who do you buy? Like, sure, you could go up to an Ekitike or an Isak, but there's so many problems with that Liverpool attack. Who knows which of them is going to start consistently? They're really expensive. Then you've got Jared Bowen, I suppose. And then you could drop down and you want to go cheaper. Welbeck could be a solid pick, but he's been decreasing a little bit in his minutes lately. You've got, who are some of the other guys that we were all throwing out in the forward conversation?
My boy Barry from Everton.
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Dude's gonna be nice.
So basically, there are no forward options.
I mean, if you look at like the goals this season, you got Haaland with 15. And everyone's like, great. You're not playing FPL if you don't have Haaland. Like, what are you doing? He's the only captain most weeks. Then there's Thiago, who I feel like everybody's on for a while, or at least he's starting to get high ownership. I mean, as of today, his ownership is 33%, so pretty up there.
If you didn't have him, he was certainly the priority transfer.
For sure. I feel like a lot of people are on him now after getting the AFCON transfers, especially with Mateta. And then there's Mateta, who everyone's like kind of mad on. There's Welbeck, who, well, great. I think Thiago has proven to be like sort of the front runner in that asset range. And so you're already at like 2 of the top forwards are 6.5 mil. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of reason to invest in these guys at all. And I think most people are probably heading that direction, if I had to guess.
Yeah, there's other notable ones that you can't go for. It feels like, at least, not to say you can always do whatever the hell you want. Voltemade, you've got Vissa taking more minutes off of him. That's a tough spot to be in, albeit they do have some really nice fixtures coming up. So if you can time that right, get him for a fixture where he is going to play 90 minutes and you can be sure of it, it may be worth a go on that. It's just uncertain to see how they're going to break out minutes between those two in Europe and in Prem. Watkins, who the fuck wants that guy? Gyökeres, I suppose you could get him now that he's coming back, but
so are you guys surprised? Are you surprised by Watkins at all? Because I think everyone's like astonished by the fact that they're second right now, I think, in the Prem.
Yeah.
They just took down Arsenal, and yet there's not a single asset we want. Like, I feel like in most seasons we'd be all over those guys.
Right.
Oh, so they're third now, excuse me. But
yeah.
I mean, Watkins not jumping out.
How many games did it take them before they scored a goal at the beginning of the season? Like,
it was a slow start, but they did that last year too.
Yeah.
And
and to your point, like, so fixtures upcoming are West Ham, United, Chelsea, Arsenal. I guess we can pull up upcoming fixtures for attack. So Aston Villa pretty low down there, but I mean, they do have
the bottom.
I guess it's just because you have Arsenal in the next few, but it really doesn't look that bad on paper. I feel like Forest, United, West Ham are all solid fixtures. Maybe the Arsenal, Chelsea, Palace. So a little bit of a mixed bag. But yeah, I think it's more so just that I don't know if you can justify the money yet. Although looking back, he did score a couple goals a couple weeks ago. So, that's an option. You're paying a lot of money for a player who doesn't have consistent minutes. And also just has not done super solid this season so far. But point being, the forward group is tough. Where did y'all end up? Obviously, we all had Haaland and Thiago. I think that is kind of just the template at the moment. If you didn't have them, that's probably where you went. But the third forward spot, it obviously brings up the opportunity to potentially switch formations, go to more of that 3-5-2, formation as opposed to having 3 forwards. We already know that Vibes FC landed on Barry. Would love to hear some of that. Like, what brought you to bringing him in?
Well, he's a young dude who just came over into the Prem. He scored goals where he came from, and he's looked like scoring goals the past few game weeks. So he finally put it in. I think there's going to be a string of them to come, I hope. And if not, I still really never have to play him. And he's just someone who's there, but he seems like a high reward, no risk situation. Like if I'm not going to play a third forward right now, he seems like he could be primed to do something cool. That's kind of all it was.
And I mean, if you buy into the like mental aspect of the game, like genuinely watching the Everton players, it's not unknown to them those 2 forwards that they haven't scored. Like it must be something that's being talked about, and it's kind of a monkey on their back type thing. So to your point, like him getting that off of his back is actually a valuable thing. And the fixtures for Everton do really turn. Chelsea and Arsenal next 2, but then jumping into that Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Wolves, like long term, there's going to be a lot of clamoring for those players. And let's say Barry scores in one of the next 2 weeks. I think, once those fixtures turn, everybody's going to be like on the same page as you. So definitely a worthwhile punt to make.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with him.
Macklin, where'd you end up?
Cannot find the mute button. There we go. I went the Gooey route. We should really pronounce his name. Learn how to pronounce his name. It's a problem.
Okay.
We're 16 weeks in.
I do think it's hilarious because you have however you want to pronounce these names, but you have the Crystal Palace defender, and then you have the Chelsea forward, and I have heard for each of them on this podcast pronounced Guehi, Gehi, and Gooey for any of those 2, like for either player. Genuinely, I've heard them all.
We're so ignorant. Ridiculous.
So I never quite know who we're talking about, but we well now we Sharp's got the Palace defender. We both have Mark Gooey.
I have both.
Spoiler. Oh, you have both? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. Anyways, I have the Chelsea forward, Mark Gooey. I just didn't care. I wanted to bottom out on a forward. I said the forwards have not been good to me, and most of the action seems to be happening in the defense with the attacking threat this year and the DEFCONs and the midfield. So I just said I, in general, want to divest from the forwards. And I think that's been my plan for a while. I thought about trying to maybe make a move for like a Woltermate or a Wissa, but just with the minutes concerns, that I just decided it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it's tricky. I definitely didn't want to dead end that spot. I also went that route. I looked at a Calvert-Lewin. I really didn't look at Barry, to be honest with you, but that's just because I have watched quite a bit of Everton and just don't want that headache. But, I think to the point of if the fixture play, I honestly think it was really a good move, Sharp, because when I was looking at Calvert-Lewin, that's what kept me from going there. It was obviously you're sacrificing in a different position, and Leeds' fixtures really start to turn pretty nasty for a while now. Regrettably or reluctantly dead ended into a dead third spot forward, but that allows me at least to dead end out of a defender who I was never going to play and Rodon. So, I suppose it's a give and take. It's just moving towards more of that defensive first structure. And I also think at any point I'd be totally comfortable selling Saka. And I may even take some money out of the back line if I decide to go away from an Arsenal defender. So I can always upgrade Gooey to somebody else if they put their hand up and say they're worth going to. Okay, so that kind of rounds out the forward stuff, unless you guys have something else to say.
No, I think it was good.
Okay. Mids. This is obviously where it gets a little bit more interesting, but I do think AFCON really limits the field quite a bit, as well as just some natural injuries that cropped up. For example, I was really thinking about kind of like, I feel like I'm playing a little bit of catch up. My rank's not obviously terrible, but being over the million rank at this point, I'd like to make some strides. So wanted to potentially go for a Liverpool player. I was thinking Gakpo, and obviously can't do that. Super duper injured. Was pretty cured also watching the midweek, because boy, did they not create a whole lot.
Hey, but they won.
I love how coming out of that game, I saw a lot of Slots found his form. The boys are back, and I was like, that was not I didn't think that was an incredible game, but all right.
Unbeaten in the last 3.
Right.
Sharp. I think we got to take a moment on that topic. How are you feeling about the Salah rant? What's going on? Where's the head at?
I want to talk about this. I love when sports is like full on reality TV. This is great.
This does feel like one of those moments where if he like said this drama in a Beverly Hills voice, it would be like Kardashian. And then he said, but like I gotta hear it.
I mean, unfortunately, how much do I want to say? Like, I respect him as a player. He's done a ton. He is Liverpool. He loves it. It's amazing. You should never take him out. The unfortunate results are that we look sort of better without him right now. So the way that Slot wants to play and Salah just seem to not mesh whatsoever, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I also think like, I mean, I know he's established a ton of credibility at the club and like all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, if you're performing this badly, everybody's spots should be up for grabs. That's kind of my thought process on it. And again, maybe that's the manager's fault, and I'm sure that would be his counter to it, but you can't really blame him for trying something different.
I have so much trouble believing that the season's top scorer last season is this bad.
Yeah,
like the guy who said like such a crazy like had such an amazing season last season.
But I don't think it's like, I mean, I'm sure even Slot would say that. Like, he's not like Salah's just shit all of a sudden. I'm sure his perspective is, look, we've tried, we've proven that he, not necessarily him as a scapegoat, but these front players don't interact well together.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they don't.
So that's a fantastic point, actually, because you know who we didn't cover in the forward debate at all? Either Ekitike or Isak. We didn't bring him up at all.
So I did really have an Ekitike moment. You know, you sent something offline that was kind of like, hey, this could be worth a play, because, you know, I think Liverpool, they still could be options. It's just like, I mean, you said it again offline, but you were like, you've been trying to force a Liverpool player in for how long? Like, what are we still doing here? And that's so true. I think that it's just that there's a template forming, and that may be one of the few ways where you can take a little bit of a different path, but admittedly it feels silly considering watching them play. But yeah, Ekitike now with Salah out, it looks like they're trying to shift more to that 4-4-2 style, and him and Isak together, or at least that's how they set up in the Champions League.
Yeah, play them in the league.
And if you want to pick one player who has been consistently good for Liverpool, it has been Ekitike. And even in that game, like, he had a few chances himself. Like, he's a solid player. I'd be happy to get him in if he wasn't so goddamn expensive. He's not on pens. Like, it's really hard to fit him in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on that, I guess maybe you're talking just forwards, but if you're talking about one player who's been consistently good on Liverpool, it's Szoboszlai.
Yeah. But I guess I also mean from the FPL perspective, because he actually hasn't returned all that much.
I think it's sneakily higher than you realize for someone who, I forget how expensive he is, to be fair.
That's his price. It's also sneakily higher than you realize. That's the argument against all of the Liverpool
sharp.
players.
He's like lower. Gravenberg has outscored him by quite a bit. Gravenberg has 66.
So the last few games?
No, just like total season.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Szoboszlai scored in the early season.
I think Szoboszlai is a great player. Where my head's at with him, if we were going to get onto that real quick, is just that he unfortunately keeps having to play right back, and that's just not an attacking enough position for him to like consistently get FPL points.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't done that for a while now, right?
He's kind of like off and on, is my understanding, because Connor Bradley keeps going in and out, right?
I think he's about to, like, Joe Gomez played back there one time and then moved Solo up. So I think now that he is capable of playing, I think he's going to be staying out of the right back at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point.
I mean, in the Champions League the other day, he was just taking right wing, essentially, Salah's spot. And I honestly think that's more where we'll see him going forward, either that or back in that like cam role. But I just don't know if the potential output is there all that much. The way I was thinking about it was looking back at last year. He had 6 goals and 10 assists, and that's in theory his cap, right? Liverpool having that unbelievable season and him being integral to that, right? Playing huge minutes consistently. And so I would think that's his peak. Obviously, if Salah's not being the driver and somebody else has to drive the bus, maybe he can do more. But I just wonder if that is indeed the peak. He's already at 2 goals, 1 assist. Like, I don't know. I'm genuinely thinking about it. Like, funny enough, that would be my 5th transfer. I think I'm probably likely to wait a week regardless, but I really would be. I am considering it going forward. I just am going back and forth of being like, is this actually a high upside player, or are we just sitting here, to your point, trying to force in one Liverpool guy and being like, ooh, well, he plays, so that's exciting.
I think if you wait like a week or two, that's the best play of the Liverpool players, because
He's cheapest for sure. Like
we can all make like such a great argument for all of the Liverpool players, and the fixtures are actually like pretty solid. Like, because in
very good.
19, 20, 21, 22, they play, or excuse me, 18, 19, they play Wolves, Leeds, 20 is Fulham, 21 is Arsenal, and then 22 is Burnley. But in
And
5 game
don't
weeks,
forget
playing
that Spurs
3,
fixture too.
watch out, man. They're actually like right next to the table. That could be a belter right next to us. But I mean, in 5 game weeks, you play 3 of the bottom 4 teams. That's a pretty absurd run. I just think that you just need to wait for the like a little bit of nibble on the line before you jump. You know, like there's as soon as they show signs of life, I'm all for it. But until they do, there's just no reason to have them sitting there. Is where I feel like is where I'm at. You know, like similar. Sharpie said a couple weeks ago when like João Pedro was probably going to score when he played like 2 of the bottom teams back to back. I think it was like Wolves and somebody. I feel like it's the same situation as then, with like Ekatike, Isak, and Salazar.
And I think you guys can probably afford to not go there and not make the risk.
Mm-hmm.
I am starting to get to the point where I feel like I need to take a little bit more significant against the grain risk. And obviously, like high level, getting all these transfers has turned us into quite a template. Like when we show our teams coming forward now, we're all going to basically have the same team. So especially if I want to beat you guys in the mini, then I need to definitely start taking some different paths to you. So anyway, I guess I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. But
no, I hear you. But I mean, to that point, like 4 of my 5 midfielders right now are over 30% owned, I think, or 20% owned. Like it's crazy. So it is very template. So to go a crazy way with your 5th kind of feels like a must in some capacity, like however you look at it, because you need a differential that you'll play at some point. And I think everyone's pretty much going to play 5 midfielders as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think for me it would be Bruno Guimaraes that makes way, but he's like 12-13% owned. What is
I think he's higher than that, isn't he?
As of now, that's what it says in FPL, but it could be that I don't know if that updates until the game week has actually started. You know what I mean? I don't know if that accounts for all the transfers that have brought him in since. And then Sobo's like 6. So definitely having a differential, I think, is useful right now. And if anything, that's the Liverpool conversation. But getting into mids more specifically, it does feel like it's pretty hard to find a differential right about now, in the sense that, I mean, so again, the 5 transfers, but just like there's really not a whole lot, right? If you want a United mid, Cunha's minutes have been unreliable even when other players are out. Bumo's obviously leaving, albeit he has this week against Bournemouth, which could be a nice fixture for him. Bruno, not only is he's the only one who's still there, but not only that, and then he hauled over in last week against Wolves, so kind of feels like a must. You have Declan Rice. He's dealing with some like illness, injury type of stuff. You might be tripled up elsewhere with Arsenal. Semenyo is still pretty highly owned, and if anything, he might be one where he's too highly priced now. I'm curious where you guys are at with that. Obviously, you both sold in recent weeks. He's another one that I feel like I could go back to at any point. Like,
I think we're anchoring on the beginning of the season too hard with him. Like those first few games were great, and then he fell off an absolute cliff. So like, yeah, sure, if he does like all of a sudden,
someone could have predicted that. God damn it!
You broke him as soon as you brought him in.
It's facts, dude. Facts.
So to me, like, at this point, I really have no interest in him unless he starts. I would probably need 2 games of hauls from him, or like at least returns. So
yeah, there's that Burnley in 17 calling my name, but other than that, I heard. And they're pretty low on this fixture ticker that we have up here. Bruno Guimaraes, he's one where like I don't know if I need to rewrite my brain on him, because I have him, brought him in, he's scored for me, he's scored multiple weeks in a row, and I'm still like, I don't know about you.
And what's your rank?
Yeah, exactly. Transfer out the player that's scoring. That's how it works, right?
Yes. Transfer the guy who's not going to score.
Right? And not only that, but I think he's going to rise, or did rise already tonight. So, I mean, since bringing him in last week, he's already gone up 0.3, I think, in my team. So in that sense, like that's another piece of why you kind of have to go with this template a little bit. Like, for example, could have kept Bumo for an extra week and brought in Foden for somebody else and made the money work elsewhere. But you kind of felt like, okay, Bumo's falling, Foden's rising incredibly quickly. Mac and I both went super early on that transfer. Like
Mhm.
you're losing out on value too if you don't hit this template right now because everybody has so much money in transfers.
Exactly. It's the price rise team is what everyone's getting. Like a lot of people I bet are unexpectedly priced out of at least one player they were looking at this week because they just didn't go early because everybody wants the same guys. Everybody's rising. We all have 5 transfers. It's like a mini wild card. It basically resets everyone at the same level.
But yeah, if you take Bruno, let's say, so let's say Bruno Guimaraes, Foden, and then Dewsbury Hall, that accounts for 4 of the top 6 scoring players. The other 2 are Rice and Semenyo. And then behind them, you have players like Bumo and Ndai that are going to be gone for AFCON. You have Minte, who's just struggled, but he could be, due for some sort of a bounce back. You have a couple of Chelsea guys in Neto and Enzo, which again could still be options. What are those Chelsea
still
fixtures
pretty
looking
low?
like?
They're right above Liverpool. They have Everton, but then they have Newcastle. Villa's been good. City's in there.
Yeah, so just like doesn't feel like they had that really long run of beautiful fixtures.
So the Chelsea assets aren't guys I'm considering right now, but I will say, like 5 game weeks out, they get kind of good. If we just look at their fixtures real quick, in the next couple, it's 16. It's Everton, then it's Newcastle, Villa, Bournemouth, City, Fulham. Everyone's like you, right? That's through 21. But then they go Brentford, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley.
Yeah.
And that run from 24 through 27, West Ham's, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley is crazy. That's really far away. We're in game week 16. I only bring that up to say.
So maybe get them on wild card. Yeah.
In general, the way I'm thinking about these transfers for the next couple of weeks, as we talk about the midfielders, is the players we're making with this mini wild card right now are the players I want for like the next 5 game weeks, right?
Right.
If you're talking like Bruno Guimaraes, you're looking at like Newcastle. They got pretty good attacking fixtures with Sunderland, Burnley, Leeds in the next 6. So like I think you're probably going to hold on to him for a little while, right? Like
maybe.
I don't know, maybe not. But there's a lot of like high owned picks, and I think I'm looking in like the next like 4 to 6 game weeks when I think about that in the lens of the midfielder. And that's why I think so many people are so highly owned.
Yeah.
Luke, please hold on to him. Please don't do this to yourself.
No, I'm not going to get rid of him ahead of Sunderland, but my thought process, if anything, would be to do him out for the Chelsea and Man United set there and bring that straight into Szoboszlai for Tottenham, Wolves, and Leeds, and then maybe go back or something, right? If he's doing well.
That's a good move.
It could be somebody else. Could keep him. I have
Sorry.
used 3, and I have one bookended to do road on up to Anderson from Fulham.
Okay. I guess the question is, do you think using the transfer is worth it? Because you look at the difference between games between Guimaraes and Szoboszlai, tongue twister names.
Yeah, facts.
Newcastle has Sunderland, Burnley, and Leeds in the next 6, so it's pretty great. And then Liverpool has Wolves, Leeds, and Brighton as the next best.
Yeah,
So-
I think I've talked myself out of this week, but we'll kick this can down into next week and see if that's a transfer I still want to make.
All right,
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Get more data. So, and then talking about guys who are like less owned, could be a little bit of someone more to punt on. You have like your Andersons from Nottingham Forest. You have Harry Wilson. I know there's some interest on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is. Harry's
Talk
looking
to us
nice.
about Harry Wilson, because I mean those Fulham fixtures are phenomenal for the next 3, right? That's obviously why I'm targeting an Anderson. Is Burnley, Forest, West Ham 3 in a row. It feels like there's something on offer. If you can get someone who's gonna be instrumental on either side of the ball for them, it feels like a good time to bring one of them in.
100%. I mean, that's a big factor into it because it's really, I think what it comes down to is around this price range. If you're looking here, it's him or KDH. And I know Dewsbury Hall has been amazing, but it's those fixtures that puts it over the top for me because while Dewsbury Hall has gotten like the attention for it, I mean, Harry Wilson has gone 8-8-10 in his last 3. Like, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
And those were against Palace, City, and Tottenham. And now he gets to play Burnley, Forest, West Ham.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you were buying new, like I have KDH, so I'm obviously not going to sell him, but I think if I were buying new, it seems like the beauty of KDH is he's so cheap. Like you can do Burnley, Forest, West Ham, or Burnley and Forest, and then switch to KDH for Burnley, Forest, Brentford, like Wolves. So those Everton fixtures definitely turn. I think that KDH will be, I don't want to say like essential, but will be an easy transfer for a ton of people in 18 if they don't already have him, because that fixture run is great and he's like 5 million. But no, I think going for a Fulham guy with those fixtures now makes way more sense.
My only thinking with KDH, and I brought him in instead of Wilson, is like I think that those fixtures are amazing for Wilson. My fear was when I got to 18, was I actually going to want to use the transfer that week on my
You're like fifth
mid. Because KDH's fixtures do suck in the short term, but I had Caicedo from like 6 through like 16, so a solid 10 game weeks. And I look at like that horizon with KDH, and this is not to say that Wilson's not a bad pick, because he might get like 50 points and I might eat my words so bad. I just didn't go there, because then the KDH fixtures and have, what is it? Like starting in 19, it's Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Brighton, Fulham. Like, I don't know. If you think you can do it, I think it's a great move. But that was my reasoning for going the other way.
Yeah. It'll be curious to see what Everton's attack looks like without Ndiaye. I'm obviously never benching Dewsbury Hall again, so I will be playing him this week, and hopefully that'll benefit him. But if it hurts him, right, then you're sitting there being like, okay, definitely going to bench him for Arsenal. Hopefully someone like an Ndiaye could be back in time for that Burnley fixture. We'll see. But both, I mean, I think those are good budget options. Is there anybody else in that range that you guys, looked at? Or
well, there is Anderson from Forest, Sean Dycheball. He's 5.4, I think.
Yes.
He's got 62 points, so that's relatively solid amongst the midfielders, but like the top midfielders have. I mean, you have to scroll down pretty far. He's not ranked super highly, but he's 5.4. I think the case for is just that he's a DEFCON monster, right? But I think the case against is that both Harry Wilson and KDH looked primed to at least score, whereas Anderson doesn't seem as convincing. So I don't know. It seems to me like he's not as strong of a pick, but that's the only other guy I can consider.
Yeah.
I don't know if he goes in this price range, I suppose, but Minte, I feel like, is the other one, because this is just to fill that 5th spot. So if you have the money to go up to a 6.1, I kind of did have the money and the ability to do it, but his fixtures are just so brutal in the next few.
I transferred him out, and you think his fixtures are brutal?
Liverpool and Arsenal. You got West Ham and Burnley. They kind of flip, right? I guess
and
you
Sunderland.
It's a mix.
Yeah, but then you have City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Like, not necessarily ones I want either.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point. I was curious because I did transfer him out, and I'm kind of like shitting myself for doing that. And I was wondering if you still own him.
No, I mean, his price, I do at the moment, but I'm going to transfer him out. Like, that's going to be my 5th transfer, I think. But he's already dropped in price, too. Like, this.
Oh, he's dropped? Wow.
Yeah, he dropped yesterday.
I mean, sorry, you go, Luke. You've been wanting to say
I was going to say, well, I think that like Sharp or someone who's in Sharp's position is in a different set of circumstances than you, right? It really depends on what is that new formation that you're at. If you're at 3-5-2 like we are, then that 5th midfielder matters a lot more. Whereas if you're Sharp and you have a playable 3rd forward, like that player is essentially sitting on your bench a little bit more. So a Minte, whether that's the Minte or the Anderson or whoever, like you can afford to have that be a player that you could bench in games like Liverpool and Arsenal and then play in the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more impactful for you and I, Mac. Like we have to play that player every week. So if you're playing Minte versus Arsenal, you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I understand that for sure. But Sharp, who would you go to if you transfer Minte out?
I believe it's going to be Harry himself.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was
Potter.
Yeah.
All right. So any other midfielders to touch on?
No, I think that was comprehensive. Is everybody going Bruno real quickly? Actually, yes, I have more midfielders to touch on. I completely lied. We really only talked about the shit ones. What the hell? What about Foden? Are we all there?
I feel like we all agree.
You have to. Yeah.
You have Saka, Foden, Bruno, and Bruno.
There's a reigning 4, right? Or like at least a solid 3. Saka, Foden, and Fernandes, right?
Yeah.
Those are the 3 midfielders that everyone's probably moving to.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked over the last few weeks about like I don't think Saka is essential, but you also aren't going to sell him
for Wolves.
And you also, if you have 5 free transfers, you're going to buy him for Wolves. Money's no issue. Money's just no issue. We're all rich. Bruno, like Bruno just feels obvious. Bruno's really frustrating for me, just as like the shit touch goes of, scoring, being the asset that he was promised to be now, right? And those that held the faith with him for a long time and just were like, hey, trust the process. He ended up serving them well. First week I brought him in is when he got like a -2 or whatever the fuck. But point being, like, yeah, I think he just seems like too consistent of an asset with too many routes to points. And obviously, you know, even more of a role in theory with Bumo out. I'm curious if Bumo helps or hurts him.
I'm curious about that as well. Like, is Cunha going to be able to step up and fill the spot? Because it's basically going to have to be him, because I think Sesko's still injured, right? So who does that leave? Mason Mount, who's been playing well, and then Cunha. That's the team. At least they might get some solidity that way. I don't know.
But I'm wondering if that means Bruno moves up into more an attacking 10 as opposed to that defensive. And maybe that's where the like Mazraoui and or not Mazraoui, is that right? Casemiro and who's the second?
Well, if it's Mazraoui, I wonder if he's going to.
Anyway, point being, I'm wondering if it bumps Bruno more up the field, or if it, to your point, he stays in the same spot. They put somebody more dull in attack.
Yeah, well, Mazraoui's going to AFCON for Morocco.
Ugarte is who I meant.
Yes.
And they also have what's the guy that's there? It's like the young guy that everybody's always like, oh, you got to play him more.
Kobe Mainu.
Yeah, Kobe Mainu, that one. So
yeah, that's weird. He was the star last season.
I think there's more opportunity for them to fill Bruno's current position and move him up the field, but I don't know if Amorim is glued to him in that spot. Regardless, yet to be seen whether Bumo being out helps or hurts Bruno, but I just don't. I don't feel like he's a player that I would take on right now because there's really no point. Like, there's no reason to, because who else are you going to go to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. With Bruno, I know he's like, in the last 3 gotten 11, but could a lot of people have predicted 11 against Crystal Palace? Maybe? I don't know. Then West Ham, he got 4, and then Wolves got 18. And Wolves are just awful. They have 2 points in 16 games. It's crazy.
Well, that also, I mean, breeds the conversation of, how much do you want triple Arsenal this week? Because, boy, it feels like everybody, you have to this week.
You have to, right? So Brentford, between 6 for Fernandes and 12. So 6 game weeks. He had -1, 3, 8, which is solid, 4, 5, 5, 2. So he's like ticking away, but it's not a rewarding player to own. Very rarely does he get those hauls. And I'm afraid, as someone who just transferred in for Mbumo, I think it was like the logical step. But I'm afraid we're all just point chasing here, and it's just not going to be a good move in the long run.
See, I think like that's what I'm saying though, is I think that he has been the asset that he's promised to be.
Yeah,
he just had such a rough start with the missed pens that it made it seem like he's not what he is. Because you're right, no, he's more going to tick away than he is going to explode.
I'm mad because I had him.
all I know is I hated on him all season. Really said he was awful. Shouldn't have him. Should have Bumo. Brought him in last week and he got me 18. So.
Mac, we just need to do what Sharp does. He has he comes in and a player just scores immediately. Like, look at his transfers in this week. Foden and Bruno. Like, it's a masterclass. We got to quit.
He's the one.
Okay, so I'm going to switch this over to defensive fixtures, and this pool has really, really slimmed, and it's partially because of what we were talking about with Arsenal defenders.
Everyone trust 2 of them in a lot of cases, so there's 2 whole players everyone has to refill.
Right. So if you had a Saliba, if you had a Gabriel,
Calafiori has been injured.
If you even went for Mascara, it's really tricky to have a solid defender in there. They obviously also haven't been keeping the clean sheets, and their fixtures going forward after this Wolves game start to get a little bit like they're middling. But they just taper, right? Everton have been a decent attack this year. Brighton are a decent attack, but I mean, they could clean. Villa, who knows? Bournemouth, decent attack. Liverpool, decent attack. Well, point being, like their fixtures just don't scream cleans anymore necessarily. It is still this incredible defense, but you just wonder how much. We knew what the defense looked like with Gabriel and Saliba at the back. Now it's like, what does it look like with Timber at center back and Calafiori on the right or something, and who knows what they're doing.
They got Ben White back, who I think will be on the right side. Yeah, Calafiori will probably play on the left end, and
Timber center back.
I guess so. That would be disappointing if that's the case because I brought him in. But if that's the case, then. But I don't know. So actually, that's not true because Saliba's coming back too, I think, for Everton game. So he might miss Wolves, but he's back soon. So I don't know. I feel like it's tough for them right now because Gabriel's out. But if like Timber and Calafiori get over these knocks, there is a little bit of stability. I agree with the larger point though, that like after like 3 game weeks, the fixtures are just kind of bad. It's Villa in 19, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Forest United. So from like 19 through 23, 5-game stretch, I mean, clean sheets might be questionable.
Yeah.
Nervous about it. So
I think other defenses that obviously people are really highly invested in, you've got Palace. Munoz is now going to be out for a while. He's got surgery, which thank God that happened and also thank God I didn't go early on transfers because that was potential for me. So that's good. Gahey's still there, still just the best defender of all time. He's the top scoring defender in the game at this point.
mad.
Yeah, I was actually kind of mad at Mac when he told me to bring him in because that's when he like sat, then got a red card, and then sat again. And I was like, why the hell did I spend a transfer on this bum? And now he's amazing, and I love him.
Yeah, so I think I'm done hitting you guys every week with Palace's wheels are going to fall off and just being like, this is a good defense.
No, but the wheels are falling off. Sar's injured. Mateta's dogged. They're falling. Like they play a 5-back. Like Munoz is injured. It's happening.
Yeah. So we'll see. They've got some pretty nice fixtures coming up, but it's hard to figure out who you want, if any.
I don't know, man. I think the fixtures kind of suck for them coming up. Not gonna lie.
Well, the next few are nice, right? So you got Leeds, Tottenham, Fulham. Those are 3 nice ones.
Yeah.
After that, tough sledding.
But our target like a team that you're Tottenham, a team you're guaranteed to clean against as a defender.
Yeah.
Are they?
I was just trying to piss you off.
No,
He said that's so deadpan though. He was like, yeah, of course they fucking are.
I think a couple weeks ago they were, but I guess it's easy to write them off. But just to be fair, in the last 3 games they've played, they've won 3-0, 2-0. They tied Newcastle 2-2. The PSG, they went 1-2 to Fulham, 4-1 to Arsenal, 2-2 to United. So they haven't not scored in like 10 games. And I just worry. I don't know. I'm worried about the Palace guys as someone who had 2 Palace guys prior to this game week. With Munoz being injured, that brings in like their 3 from an FPL perspective. The guy who's going to have to play from is 3.9 mil. So, but the games are just a little bit tough because it's like City, Leeds they should clean against. Tottenham they might clean against, to be fair. Fulham they should, but then Newcastle, Villa, skipping 1, Chelsea. I don't know. I'm a little worried. I went down to 1 Palace defender.
Yeah, and then you have players like Senesi who are potentially injured. Oh my God, Calafiori suspended. I forgot about that.
For Wolves.
So yeah, like you really have like very few options. I think we're getting into the territory of like, as somebody who owns Chow, I'd like to sell him kind of. And then I'm kind of like, well, I guess maybe you keep him. I'm not sure. Because there just doesn't seem like there's too many options to be had in that area. I do think if you're in our position, Mac, of that 3-5-2, it probably makes sense to make sure you don't have any sort of dead ending going on and you have a solid bench on defenders. But otherwise, the pickings are slim. I like Nico O'Reilly. I have him, but I also think, especially with that midweek fixture against Real Madrid, there could be rotation there. But he's as good a bet as any in that system.
So
maybe the Everton guys. But
I was going to ask you about him. Sorry. What are your thoughts on him as an owner of Nico O'Reilly?
I really like him, and I also like he scored in that midweek game. Like I think he has genuine attacking threat as well. My only concerns with him are the threats from Gvardiol and Ryan Aït-Nouri in general. Obviously, right now that's fine because Aït-Nouri is off to AFCON, but just in general having those guys breathing down his neck. But I truthfully, I mean, like the proof is in the pudding. He's played every game. He's integral to what they're doing at the moment. So until his minutes are under threat, I'm not going to be worried about it. But yeah, I like City's defense, and I like him as a potential attacking option in that team. They've got good fixtures. Like I'm not mad about it.
Is there a standout budget mid right now? Like
mid?
Excuse me, defender right now. Like, is there somebody that everybody should just be going on? Because it seems like
I just don't think we need the money. Is the thing.
Like, who are you going for a backline then? I'm curious. Sorry. Keep going.
Tarkowski for one.
You're on
I don't think we've
Tarkowski?
talked about him, but averages per 90, 10.8 DEFCONs, has 73 points. Dude's low-key been putting up a season, I feel like, pretty quietly at 5.4. And I think Everton have Chelsea next, so, like, not the best fixture, but if you can afford to have him. And then sit him for a week and then bring him in, I think he could be good.
So I have Tarkowski. Sorry, Luke, what are you saying?
No, you're good. Go.
I was going to say I have Tarkowski, Chelsea, Arsenal next two, not great. But then from 18 through 23, I mean, you got Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Wolves, Villa, Leeds. Like, that's a crazy run. My only question is with Tarkowski as an owner, he's 5.5 mil. What about Keane, who's 4.6 mil and has 76 points versus Tarkowski 73? Have you given any thought to that? How do we feel about Everton? That's kind of my question.
I think, like we've touched on, the fixtures are going to turn. So I'm definitely interested in that sense. It's more so just that Everton aren't as good defensively as they've been in previous years. Mm-hmm. But to Sharp's point, if you get a guy who can DEFCON and has the odd attacking threat too, like that's when you make the bet is you say, hey, you have nice fixtures, you have DEFCON just in case. So yeah, I think that's definitely an option. I'm sure that like I will be transferring in an Everton defender at some point in the next few weeks, assuming I don't have major injuries I have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. To answer your original question, though, the budget defender I'm looking at, same reason I was looking at Harry Wilson, is Anderson at Fulham because of those fixtures that they have coming up. Just looks so
trying
nice.
to get at ultimately. Well. Yeah, 4.5 mil. Burnley next.
When I hear budget defender, I thought you meant like one of the 4-0 guys, like
sorry,
in that territory.
Should have clarified.
No, I mean, yeah, that's the transfer I'm looking to make in as well. I just think their fixtures are too good, but Fulham have been poopy at keeping clean sheets, which is tough. But again, this is what you do. You look for a DEFCON guy who's got good fixtures and try to attack it that way, or somebody who scores every game like Gahi. So pick a poison.
Yeah, it was interesting though. Like maybe first 10 game weeks, everybody was like big at the back, a lot of super high priced defenders, right? Now there's a clear front runner of like maybe 5 or 6 defenders to pick. There's a clear midfield of like 3 or 4 players. There's a clear set of 2 forwards. If we've discussed for the most part most of the picks, I guess my question is, what is your strategy going to look like in the next couple of game weeks to like kind of get out of this,
Yeah, this is what I mean, though. I feel like we're kind of painted into a corner with these teams. Mm-hmm. Like it feels like there really are only a handful of picks at each position, so it's further breeding that template. But I think something to watch that I've been excited about is the potential for like an attacking wingback at Newcastle. I'd like to have an option there. I'd love to go with somebody like a Lewis Hall and have them start returning. But no, I really don't think there's very many great options. Genuinely, I don't really want to touch the Chelsea defense. Somebody we haven't talked about is Chalobah, who has a ton of points this season, but they don't have great fixtures, and I don't have a huge interest in going there.
I said it earlier. I'm looking at Chelsea like closer to 21.
Yeah.
They're a little far out for me. The fixtures aren't very good, as you said.
I think it's what I'm curious is for you guys, if you do have an Arsenal defender, is there priority to move that on after this game week? Do you have any interest in doing so, or is it just like, does that feel like forcing the issue?
Sorry, you go, Sharp.
No, I was gonna say I think it just kind of feels like forcing it. I think there's, like we kind of already talked about, there's not a ton of people at high value that you really need to invest in. So why not hold on to them? And assuming at this point, the one you have, if it was of value, is Timber, I think Timber's just he gets to keep playing. Arsenal still is Arsenal, even with all the subs, I believe. And he's just going to get better once the other guys come back too. So if you're able to hold on to him and you can have guys that rotate in, like right now I'm looking at a 3-5-2 as well. So I only need 3 guys that can play back there. And my current backline is Burn, Tarkowski, Gay, Anderson, and Timber. Like I feel very comfortable playing any of those guys any given week.
Would it be crazy for me next week to just go Richards straight up to Gahi?
No,
it feels so dumb, but I'm like, it might be time.
No, I did the same. I had LaCroix and Richards, and I said I was pissed off for not having the right one, despite having 2. And so I grabbed it.
Yeah. Just to the point, just to bitch a little bit. Like earlier you said something about point chasing, Mac, and I feel like this whole season for me has been point chasing. Like I'm just like, I don't have a player like a Semenyo who everybody has, and I'm like, hold the faith, and they put up like 18 on me, and I'm like, all right, it's time. Or and that's kind of what I'm sitting here in the Gahi spot with. Or it's like, a player who's been doing well, and I'm like, interesting. I will bring him in, and then they just decide to stop playing. But I think it's a weird balance. Like, what's point chasing versus trying to find the next gem? Like, if a few weeks ago, if somebody had been like, "Hey, those City fixtures look really good. I'm gonna go for Phil Foden," we all probably would have sat here and been like, like Foden, he hasn't been that good this year.
He's not doing anything. He caught really by surprise.
Like, no, he came full. Like, it caught everybody by surprise.
Yeah.
Like, he came out of the woodwork and started scoring like dramatically. And I wonder, you brought up that might be a hot streak thing, and I think that very well could be. I also am genuinely curious if this is something where teams have seen how well Haaland has been doing, so they've been defending him a little bit harder, and it's opened things up for Phil Foden. In which case, anyway, I want to talk captaincy, but maybe we should go into our transfers first.
No, it's a good point real quickly, just on that. I think with Phil Foden, like, Cherky's come in, On the topic of like bitching though, I think it's point chasing is natural, and you just for some reason keep like convincing yourself that the players who are scoring are not the ones you want.
I don't want them.
You did it with Semenyo. You're trying to do it with Bruno G right now.
Get him out of my team. I don't like him.
It's not a problem because I'm doing it too, but Sharp's doing the best job of just truly like, who are the guys I want for the next 3, and who are the guys who are currently scoring. And I've been rising in rank, and I'm quite proud of that this season because I started the season like 7.7 mil. And barring last week, that's the first red arrow I've had in 12 game weeks. And I just had to like literally stop like thinking about it too much and just go like, good fixtures, who's getting the points? I'm going to suck up my pride because last season I finished like high sub million, right? And it's because I never believed in Chris Wood, and I never got like someone else who's doing good. And I'm just like this season, like, all right, I'm just gonna go like a chicken with my head cut off and chase points, and it's working because like there's not that much high upside. Like, people aren't getting hat tricks this year.
Yeah,
so
I think that is the question though. Like, who's the Forest of this season?
I think it's Everton.
Interesting.
Or Palace, but I think Palace is obviously good, so it's Everton. Because we're already discussing Tark, KDH, Barry, like. Well, they're solid picks. Oh yeah, not Barry, but like Keane.
I think we've talked about him. The name's been said. Let's remember who said he goes off.
I know. I was going to say like
some conversation for goalies who we haven't discussed yet. By the way.
Yeah, true. The goalie stuff. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about goalies because that one really feels like. Oh yeah, we should touch on goalies actually because
I just don't think it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, every goalie's going to get between a 2 and 4, it feels
true.
like.
But let me ask you a question, because Raya and Pickford have the same amount of points. Everybody's nervous about the Arsenal defense right now. I've owned Raya since game week 6. So, like, I have him. If we look at Pickford's fixtures, they are much better starting in 18, right when Arsenal's get bad. Is that a legitimate shout? Should we be considering something like that soon? Like, if we're trying to talk about like ways to get ahead, or are we just still having faith, like you said, in the Arsenal defense? Because I didn't answer the question either, but I'm not trying to move Timber out. I think it's forcing it. But do I need a Raya then if I'm just going to hold on to Timber? I don't know. I say this as a Raya defender all season.
Yeah, I think as you and I who already own him, I feel like unless you really need the money, which we don't right now.
We don't.
It feels like not a time to transfer him out, but it does bring up a good question of like, if you were still like a Nick Pope owner at this point and you were like, shit, I need a new starting goalie, like where would you go? And I don't know the answer to that. I think the Pickford, like long term, that's a good play, but he has Chelsea and Arsenal in the next 2. Or are you trying to, is it, I don't do sign, is that Verbruggen? Is that
yes, Verbruggen, yes.
My boy Bug.
Verbruggen.
He, we have a couple tough fixtures in the next 3, but that's all right. Around that, it's pretty nice.
Are you planning on? Is that where you'll just rotate in Dubravka? Is that the idea for Liverpool and Arsenal? Or at least Arsenal.
You totally could because they have Fulham and Everton in those 2 game weeks. But I don't know. I might just want to get the save points with Verbug because I don't think Dubravka's going to keep a clean sheet anyway.
If everybody says though that we don't need the money, then what is Verbruggen has 44 points and he's like a budget keeper, so that like makes sense. But like, do you think it's better to do a Verbruggen over a Pickford then? You think Brighton are more likely to clean than Everton? And I'm curious, I don't know. I just haven't considered Verbruggen at all.
I don't love Brighton defensively, but to Sharp's point, like I guess it's the same thing we're talking about with these defenders, where we're looking at like a good run of fixtures and being like, hey, they do DEF CON, they've got good fixtures, go get them. To Sharp's point, you've got a keeper who gets a lot of saves and has good fixtures. Like if you get a clean sheet on that, great. I like the idea with either one of them, to be honest. And I think for you and I, Mac, I don't think transferring out Raya makes a ton of sense. But if like, let's say suddenly Palmer, we're like, oh shit, everybody's got to go get him, which probably wouldn't happen. But let's say that does, and we need to save money somewhere, I would be tempted to do just like a Raya down to a cheap goalie and save the money there.
I just had a big brain move, and I do not have the transfers to do it. But what if...
Yeah, you took a hit.
Yeah. Maybe I'll take 2 more after I tell you guys this move. Let me tell you. If you for some reason had spare transfers to burn and you like had the perfect team already, right? Yeah. What would you guys say to both Raya and Dubravka out for Pickford and Verbruggen for the same money? Is that not like, because Pickford has pretty great fixtures if you can skip the next 2.
Sure.
Verbruggen has pretty great fixtures. And so you're playing one bad fixture.
Yeah, you just rotate them.
But then you could just rotate them with like hit the Sunderland, hit the West Ham, hit the Brighton. Sure. I don't know. That's a very extra move. But if we're just talking about the goalie landscape, those are the only viable 3 in my opinion. I agree with the pick Sharp, to be clear.
I see your point. Like basically, this is the same like start of the season point, which is like, do you get 2 cheap goalies and rotate them, or do you go for the big goalie and the cheap 4-0 on the other end? Mm-hmm. And I really think either one's fine, because to Sharp's point, it doesn't really matter, it feels like. And earlier, the reason there was such an argument at goalie was because Arsenal were continuously keeping the clean. So it was like, well, I'm getting 6 every week from Raya. But now that that's balanced out a little bit, it's like we're back to goalies don't matter all that much.
As a Raya owner, it's not a priority transfer, just to be clear. I'm like not arguing the case for Pickford. I'm just like, I'm just thinking about, like you're talking about ways to break out of the template. And I'm like, that seems like actually a way in a very barren differential landscape. That like could mean,
I don't think goalies are how you gain rank though. Like I don't think me getting a differential goalie is going to do all that much unless he saves a pen. I
don't think you like care ultimately about having a differential goalie. It's not something I ever rotate. My overall opinion on goalies is it does matter to have the right one, because if you look at like goalie charts from prior seasons, the top goalie does maybe only have 10 points more than the second goalie, but the top 2 goalies have like 50 points more than the 5th or 6th goalie. Mm-hmm. So I think between Pickford and Raya, it's marginal right now. To your point, like you don't need to stress about it if you own Raya. If you're trying to, as you said, get out of a Pope, Pickford might be a strategy. Yeah. But I do think there's merit to having like one of the better goalies and just biting the bullet, because last season that was Raya and I refused to go him, and it was such a mistake. I was rotating on whatever the pick of the week was, and it was so annoying. It's just if we don't think that Arsenal are going to clean, the fixtures are hard, maybe it's actually a place to look for a differential.
I think, like you guys said, there's no reason to move Raya, but I think going in at a 4.4 goalie that I feel comfortable starting pretty much every week, not feeling too worried about it. I do have everyone in my team that we've talked about on this pod. Like, it allows me the extra money to be able to afford that.
I think that's the motivation, if anything, is like just saving the money. But I mean, Pickford on his own, like again, if we were wild carding right now, like, and you were like, hey, I'm thinking I'm going to get Pickford, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably smart.
Yeah.
Because I see your point. Like they're on the same points total, save a little bit of money, maybe be able to go about it that way. All right, let's get into bus teams. Mac Sharp, who wants to go first?
I can do it.
I think you're going to find some scary similarities between mine and Sharp's team.
So is this with the hit included? Because I'm just so eager. I didn't know you were hitting. This is lovely.
Do you want to flash?
Did you hit tonight? You two together. Did he influence you?
I did it way early in the week for perfect money. I saw the lines,
out the window,
charted the path in the maze, and said, "I'm moving." I wish I had my other team. My team from last week.
You don't remember all the things you did?
No, I do. Just visually. So, all right. I had last week, I had in the back line for changes, no changes to the goalie. I had both LaCroix and Richards. I knew I wanted to go down to one defender. Arguably, it's a sideways move to go to Guehi when I could have just kept LaCroix. And it probably is a stupid move. But I've been rocking Richards all season. It's been working out for me. Guehi just seems to be the standout Palace defender right now. And I said, all right, boom, we're just going to take both of those out with these free transfers and get the one Palace guy. If we think the wheels are falling off, I want to have one. He seems to be the one. So that was it for the back line. That's 2 transfers. I moved on like Saturday from Bumo to Foden. That was just an easy move. I knew Foden was going to rise like crazy. And I just said, I'm doing this now. I know this is what I want to do. And let's see, who do they have next? Bournemouth. So they might win, but I have Fernandez now too. Fernandez came in for both Minta and Anderson, and we brought Foden, KDH, and Dewsbury Hall. So bummed to get rid of Minta, but as we've talked about, KDH is going to be the GOAT, and I'm going to play him every week. So, and then up top, it was just getting rid of Mateta and bringing him down to GUI to afford all the other moves. So it was 6 transfers. I call this the team that hurt me a lot last week. Very reactive, point-chasing team. Like, I did everything I say not to do, but I feel like I'm missing nobody. I have everybody. And I treated it like a wild card and could actually get to the team that I wanted. And from here, I'm like, all right, I'm looking to not make any transfers in like the next 3 moves, 3-ish weeks, save those transfers, wait for the fixtures to flip, see who's coming out.
We have an identical attack.
Yeah, I bet Sharp probably does too.
No, we have an identical attack.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, like
Okay.
all 8 of them.
I bet we and 3 million other players have an identical attack.
Wait, so I'm sorry. I'm still not understanding how this turned into a hit. So you have Mateta to GUI,
Yep,
you have Bumo to Foden,
2,
you have Minte to Bruno, you have
3,
somebody to Dewsbury Hall,
Anderson to Dewsbury Hall,
4, you have Richard Segehi.
Yep.
What's the last one?
LaCroix to Chow.
Timber.
Tarko?
Excuse me.
Timber?
Timber. I haven't had Timber
Got
in a
it.
while. So
Wow.
Timber might be a dumb move. I
Ooh.
agree that the fixtures are bad. It's just that I had everybody else, and I was like, so probably stupid things that I shouldn't have done was get rid of LaCroix for Guehi, because it's arguably just a sideways move for 2 transfers for no reason.
For a hit.
So I take that. You could argue that Timber is not a good move either, and I'm scared of not.
No, I think Timber's.
But-
You've let me scare you off. Timber's a fun. Like this week, I think an Arsenal triple up,
It's Wolves.
especially with 5 transfers.
It's
Like
Wolves.
go
And
for it.
so, like I said, like I have this team, and I'm just gonna sit on it. I'm not gonna make any transfers like next week or probably the week after, ideally, unless something crazy happens, like with an injury. I have literally everybody I want because I had the team value to do so, and like everybody who's been pissing me off, I now have. And I just don't feel like, if we're not convinced about everyone in the next couple, there's low differentials. It feels like not a problem to have the team that everybody else is going to have. So at least I'm not losing, right? There will be no more being punished by Foden, no more punished by Bruno, because I don't have them.
No, I'm actually upset though, because how am I supposed to gain on you? We have the exact same team.
See, you can't right now. That's my whole theory is like, we can't be looking at like the next 3. It's like it's what happens after the next.
No,
3.
like literally, now that I'm looking at it, we are starting the exact same players this week. I'm assuming you're starting Timber, Anderson, Chow.
Let's see who I picked. Right now I have
God, fuck me.
Timber, Anderson,
Oh,
Chow.
right.
Okay, so this is controversial.
I hate this.
I have Tarkowski over Dewsbury Hall. I just feel like
Interesting.
Tarkowski's not more
Good,
likely,
good.
more
Stick with
likely to
that.
get
Stick with that. I don't
Gaffon.
want you to have the same points as me. That would be so lame.
Yeah, and
Stick
then
with
so, but the midfield: Saka, Bruno, Foden, Bruno G, and then
If you guys
front is
came
Hall.
in next week, both having to wear the hats, that would be amazing. Because you just
Oh, but you took a -4. Let's
Oh,
go. Let's go.
That's
money.
hilarious. That's hilarious. So maybe Tarkowski will have to bail me out if Chelsea don't score.
Okay, so no. Okay, if you play Dewsbury Hall over Tarko though, and you have a -4, and it comes like that's too funny. But
Maybe I should take another hit and bring in a differential.
I love
I'll do the Pickford transfer.
All right, well then I would say go to Sharp, but I'll just show mine since it's the exact fucking same. I don't think there's much to differentiate here.
Wait. I have a more complete team than you, and you have O'Reilly. I'm not playing him.
Oh, true. I do have O'Reilly. Oh, thank God for O'Reilly. Well, he's going to score this weekend. We're good to go. Yeah. Otherwise, pretty much the same. Well, okay. So see, I was thinking of bringing in
the
Anderson.
entire bench is different. But
Maybe
yeah.
I'll triple captain Saka this week, just so I don't lose, no matter what.
Well, so this is actually worth saying. So this doesn't show that, like, so the last transfer, I've made 3. I have 2 left. My plan was to do Rodon to Anderson and bench O'Reilly. But now that I've talk to you guys, I kind of don't want to bench O'Reilly. It's tough. Like the reason why I would want to bring in an Anderson and start him is because he's playing Burnley, and that feels like just an easy, clean, like, why not do that? But on the flip side of it, I do, I was talking to you guys about why I like O'Reilly. He's got good attacking threat. Palace played today, so leggy going into that game. But I guess City also
Conference
played.
League, though.
Yeah.
They rotated. They had, Uche play up front, and Pino and Nikita. So pretty heavily rotated team, I will say.
I guess I don't want to bench O'Reilly for a haul, and I don't know if Anderson cleaning against Burnley is worth that. The reason I wanted to make that move regardless, and I'm starting to waffle, but the reason I wanted to make the Rodon to Anderson move in general was just to have better depth, period. So I could even just make that transfer and then leave him first on my bench in case somebody gets rotated out. But now that I'm sitting here, like, would you guys make the transfer of a Rodon to Anderson and beef this up at all?
So what's Anderson's next couple? Because
it's like Burnley.
Excuse me, Rodon's next couple.
Oh, Rodon. Yeah, Rodons are tough. It's Brentford, Palace, Sunderland, Liverpool.
That's tough. Brentford, Palace, Sunderland. Even just the next three for Anderson, it's Burnley, Forest, West Ham.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like that part, I'm glued into those two being worth the move. I just don't know if maybe I need to transfer for a bench player right now.
The question really is are you going to play Rodon or Anderson in the next three? Like, it doesn't matter if you're transferring. Like, if you're not going to play that fifth defender, because he's probably your fifth defender, right? Then I don't think you need to make the transfer and just save it for when the fixtures swing for somebody else, right? Like, I don't know. Right. Like, we've established even as an Anderson owner, I've had him all season. They don't clean a lot. Like, sometimes he gets a 10, but in his last four, it's 10, 4, 0, 1. Like, I don't know. Fulham aren't that good. They're in 15th.
Yeah, that's a good question so I think I would play next week to bench Dewsbury Hall for Arsenal. So in theory, I'd be playing 4 at the back.
What are you doing with Dewsbury Hall?
Whoa.
What did you just say? You know what's gonna happen now.
I can't. Yeah.
He's not gonna he's gonna get a yellow card this week. He's gonna come back with 1 point, and it's all because you just said that.
So next week, my bench would be, and this is gonna be probably max bench too, Dewsbury Hall, Chow, and Mark Gui. So Dewsbury Hall playing Arsenal, Chow playing Chelsea. So I would play whoever that fourth defender is, fifth defender, whatever.
See, I have Tarkowski though, so I probably won't play Tarkowski next week.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, you're in the same boat.
I probably have to play Dewsbury Hall, then I'll capitalize when he scores.
So it's just then, like, do I add to the bench? Basically, what this transfer now does is if anybody gets a surprise benching, let's say Timber doesn't play, then I get Anderson off the bench against Burnley. But yeah, anyway, I can stew on this on my own time. But
I don't know. If you just sacrifice that, you might just have to play like Dewsbury Hall next week, and you just save the transfer. That might be your way to like jump ahead when template breaks. Like, is transferring the 4.5 million guy worth it? The Fulham fixtures aren't that good after the next three.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. Not huge.
Interesting. Okay, I will have to tinker on that. I hadn't thought that far ahead. It was locked in my head, but glad I haven't made it yet. Sharpenator, talk to us. Oh my God, it's the same team 3 times.
It's invigorating over here on the pod.
It pretty much is the same. The only difference right now being Mente, I guess. I mean, and I have Burn instead of Chow, and then our goalies are different. But
yeah,
the starting lineup otherwise is quite similar.
I think the Mente play is nice, though. I told you I'm scared of not having him.
No, I've made 4. Sorry, I've made 4 transfers so far. It was Volta Made down to Barry, which I'm personally pretty pumped for. Not within the next 2 weeks, but looking forward. It's going to be a great play. Nice. We've also brought in Bruno this week, taking out across the midfield. We took out Bumo and Morgan Gibbs-White, which I am happy about. That was unfortunately, while it seemed like a good shot at the time, he was pretty useless for me, which is unfortunate. So Bumo and MGW out, Bruno and Saka came in for me, and then the defense took Mukiele out and brought in Anderson, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. I like that one.
So right now, what I'm thinking about is taking Minte down to Harry Wilson, and for all the reasons we talked about for Fulham's fixtures. But what also happened when I made those 4 transfers is I've been sitting with the cash in the bank the entire season, like just chilling there, and this took me exactly to 0-0. And going down from Minte to Harry with 3 amazing fixtures gives me 0.8 in the bank right now.
It's nice. You can move in one move later, but just
Yeah.
having all that money.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Mente's dropping. He dropped yesterday. It didn't affect me because it was like one of the odd numbers, so that's fine. But before he drops again, I probably want to get rid of him. And I think Harry's probably going to rise just with the amount of Twitter people talking about him.
All right. It's a good move. It's a good team. The Verbuggin money is allowing the Minte. I couldn't afford him, which is why I had to go down to KDH to keep Raya. So
Yeah.
That's an interesting differential. Barry's cheaper, so it saves 0.2 as well.
Sharp, I've got 1.2 in the bank, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's nice, isn't it? What's your wait, Luke? What's your team value? No. Yeah. You want to share?
Not good.
No.
What was it?
I think we talked about this, right? It's like 100.67, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Ew. We're sitting at a 101.9 over here. No big deal.
101.3 over here.
Yeah.
Yeesh. Who needs it in this economy? You know,
It's nice when FPL price raises every night is just tweeting my players' names out. It's absurd, and I love it.
Mine just took a hit because I took a bunch of transfers like that are sideways, so I think it makes sense that I lost a lot of value. But I'm hoping that this will help us rise.
Yeah.
I do think like tentatively, especially you guys who have burned all your transfers, next week in theory should be a roll.
It's going to be a bad week for everybody if everyone is the same team. Like the fixtures don't look that good, so I just feel the need to do nothing.
Right. So it feels like next week should be a roll. Yeah, you're right, Sharp. I don't know why I'm saying that to you.
What are you talking? Why would we roll? We get a transfer, and I have 0.8 in the bank. I got shit to do.
And you're going to get your wild card in 20, so then you can use it again.
I got a free hit and a wild card coming down. I got so much flexibility.
Yeah. But I think the next few weeks will be really interesting to see how people move away from the template. Like what changes when AFCON players do start to come back, like how immediately do you want a Bumo again? How immediately do you want an Ndai again? How immediately do you want X other player? And what does Liverpool look like if Salah comes back? Like, are they trading him? Is he like, what's good? Can you trade? I don't know how that works.
Does Palmer come back? Like, the best part, I think, like people are mad that we're all on the same team, right? It is admittedly quite boring right now, but I think
this is going to be such an annoying week for the mini. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to lose with my fucking hit because we're all going to play the same players. But what I'm excited about is that because we all have the same team, it's going to be crazy. No one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun because we don't know like who's coming. So
God, that's going to be, now that I'm thinking about it, like my entire week is going to hinge on what O'Reilly does. If I do leave playing him, like let's say you guys get the clean from Anderson, I'm sitting there just watching O'Reilly with like, come on, do something.
I just need to play like a differential team because if my choice is play the same team as you and wear the hat or play something else, I should just play something else.
Right. No, I hadn't honestly thought this far ahead, but it's going to be fucking interesting. All right. I think that covers it for this week. Any other thoughts as we go into the weekend and AFCON?
None.
All right. Keep wanking it. See you guys next time.